Hello there, it's Francis here from Generational Wealth Academy. Now, on today's video, I am going to be sharing with you one of the tools I use for trading on a regular basis. And by that, I mean the Equidistant Channel. That is basically, this, diagonal, these blue diagonal lines as you have them here, the upper and the lower channels. Now, I'm going to be showing you how I actually, draw them, in a minute. But just to say, quickly that I tend to prefer using them on the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. What we have here is the pound USD, otherwise known as the cable. The pound USD on the daily time frame. Let's just, have a look at the lower time frames and see what, what difference we can find. Even as you can see here on the daily time frame, you can tell it's it's in a trend. Basically it's trending. That obviously might be difficult to find or to see on a lower time frame. So let's just go to the 4-hourly chart. You can see there it's more difficult to tell. It's more difficult to tell, whether you are, it's more difficult to tell basically what the trend is. Even though you can see this was the last high, the last major high, and since then the price has been going down. So you can see on the on the 4-hourly chart, it shows that the price is going down, whereas on the daily chart, it shows it's an overall uptrend. So it depends on how you want to trade this really. So I mean, obviously, if you are going to be trading strictly off, if you're going to be trading strictly off the daily chart, then as of now you'll be looking to trade up, you'll be looking to buy. Whereas if you are looking to take your trades from a lower time frame like the 4-hourly time frame, then of course at this moment perhaps you'll be looking to sell. Well, even though in a sense it still is going up, but it's more of a tricky one to tell sometimes. So I would say you can actually draw the channel on and then enter the trade. Even as I did say, or as we can see here on the daily time frame, it shows that we are in an uptrend. So I really would be looking to buy. Otherwise, I'll wait for the price to get to of the channel and then take it down. You can see where it basically started. Let's just zoom out a bit. Before the uptrend started, there was obviously a downtrend, and this was the, or you could say this was the low, and from here the price began to go up, going up until it hit the top of the channel, and then it bounced off it, came down, hit the bottom, went back up, hit the top, and so forth. So that basically shows that it is definitely an uptrend, and the price is basically respecting the channel. Now, having said that, let's go on and see how I would draw this. Like I said, this chart is for, as you can see here, the pound USD on the daily time frame. So let's bring up another chart which is clean, and we'll start from scratch. So that is obviously the same currency pair. You can see by the pipsometer, you can see they are the same. So let's go to a clean chart. This is a clean chart. Now this is the 1-hour time frame. Since we are looking to draw the channel on a time frame that clearly shows that there is a trend, we'll be looking to go to a higher time frame, say the 4-hourly chart. You can see it's more difficult to tell there. There is a trend. So we go to the next one up, the daily time frame. It becomes a bit more clear. So what you want to do, first and foremost, is to check to see if there's a trend. In this case, it's an uptrend. If it was a downtrend, it would have been pretty much the same thing. So as long as you can identify a trend, and just in case you do not know, the way, we as traders basically define a trend is, when the chart shows you or gives you, higher highs and higher lows, if you like, 2 higher highs and 2 higher lows. This was a low, for instance. It went all the way up. That was indeed, a big move. So it went all the way, it swung high, low, high, low, and high. So you can see this was a low. The next low was higher, and the subsequent one was higher as well. And if you want to say this is the next one, it was even higher. So that is for the low. For the high, you can see this was the high. The next one was higher, and of course the subsequent one. So this is definitely an uptrend. So once you have ascertained that there is a trend, in this case an uptrend, what you would then do, let me just zoom in a bit. What you then do is to go to, by the way, this is an MT4, just in case you are not quite sure. This is the MT4. You go to the insert tab, and basically go down to channels and choose Equidistant, which is obviously Equidistant Channel. Otherwise, you probably already have it on there. You just basically go and choose it there, and you draw it on your chart. So watch what I'm doing. I've picked the low. Remember, this was the low. Let's just go back. You can see this was the low. As a matter of fact, let's work from here. So you can see this was the low. You place it on there, just as you would, when drawing channels. You would ensure that it touches at least 2 or 3 price points, 2 or 3. If you double click on this, you'll be able to get a handle and just move it like so. I mean, if you move it like that, if you move it that far off, obviously, the channel is not, it will seem as though the price is not respecting the channel. So you want to bring it close so that it touches at least 2 or more candles, as it were. So the bottom channel touches at least 2 candles. So does the top channel, touching at least 2 candles. Never mind the fact that it's not, perfect. I mean, the fact that the candlestick is actually sticking out here. Never mind that. That obviously, would happen because it's not always possible to draw a perfect channel. Now, maybe let's move it slightly, just touching that. Now, if you were to go to a line chart, perhaps that would help you, have a better gauge of what you're doing. So let's go back to candlesticks. So you can see there we have it. That is the channel. Let me just go back to the previous one we drew. Before we do that, let me just mark this one so that we can actually identify or tell the difference. Let's do this. So this is the chart for this is the new one we just drew, and let's go back to the one we had earlier on, the one I started with. You can see it's different. As a matter of fact, you can see I also have my indicators there. Obviously that's for another day, but you can see it's pretty much the same. That's the very first chart that I drew up to start with. And that's the one I just drew up for you or before your very eyes. So you can see it becomes easier to trade this. Now, having drawn it up like this, you might then ask, how do you trade it? I suppose that is, intuitive really, but I'll just go over. You are now basically going to wait for, the price to hit up channel or the bottom channel. Let's go check this one out. Okay. So well, this is where we are currently. This is where the price is currently. And by the look of it, it seems as though it's coming down a lower channel. So what happens, obviously, when it hits the lower channel and I see it bouncing off it, I will get in the trade to take it higher up. Let's do that. So basically, if it gets to if it gets to it, sometimes it might not even touch it completely. It might not even so much touch it, even as we have here. It did not so much touch it. It just about touched it. Let me just, let's zoom in there for you. Okay, you can see here, for instance, it didn't quite touch the channel. You know, instead, it just went all the way back up. You know, you then could have been able to enter the trade there, round about there. Okay, so if in that particular case, if you had entered the trade here, you would have been able to then take it up, getting over 280 pips. Now, what happens if the next candle had come back down? Well, that can happen, you know. So what I would usually suggest is, you know, to wait for the next candle to close. And even, let's go back there. So if we had waited for the next candle to close after this, you know, red, you know, doji-like candle, a huge doji-like candle, you'd have waited for this candle to close, and then you continue your journey or the journey up. Now, if it was the case that the next candle was a huge candle, perhaps you would have waited to enter the trade, you know, somewhere around here. You know, by that I mean, you would have perhaps waited to enter the trade close to where the previous one had closed. You would have waited to enter the trade close to where the previous red candle closed, even to take it up. Okay, so let's, you know, continue with today's trade. Let's just move this down, move it out of the way. Now, this is where we currently are. And like I said a while ago, the price has been going from the bottom. It went all the way up, came down, bounced off the bottom channel, went up, bounced off that channel, came down and went up. As a matter of fact, this did not quite touch the top, did it? No, it didn't quite touch the top of the channel. But then it began to make its way down and up and down, and now it seems to be coming back down. So I would say, you know, to wait, I'll wait for it, the candle to actually get to the bottom of the channel and touch it, or even if it doesn't touch it, I mean, it's about 12:30 p.m. UK time now, you know, so it's pretty much afternoon. The day is not over yet. This is the daily time frame. So I'll wait to see how this candle plays out, and I'll decide whether to get in or whether to wait for it, you know, wait for the next day, which is a Friday, to see how, you know, the trade or the market plays out. But anyhow, you know, because it's coming up to the end of the week, I might not be too quick to jump in. I might have to wait till Monday, you know, before actually getting into this trade. Anyhow, it's most likely going to be a high possibility winning trade because it's been respecting the channel so far. So that, in a nutshell, is how I would trade, you know, this using the Equidistant channel. I would say to practice it on demo, even as I would always say, practice it on demo, and of course, you can then, you know, decide to go live with it and begin to make a lot of pips. Just before we go, you can see I'm already in a trade, you know, taking it down. I didn't catch it from the very beginning. If I had caught it there, we would have been about 270 pips up at the moment, not just 32 pips. If one caught the trade and took it all the way up, that would have been over 500 pips. Now, I suppose, you know, some of you who are watching this, who've been following me, perhaps would want to figure out, if you don't already know, some of the ways in which I'm able to catch a lot of pips on a regular basis. This is one of the methods I use. What I would advise is that you get out, you know, perhaps, you know, 5 currency pairs. Look for the ones that are trending and basically draw your equidistant channels and begin to, you know, enter the trades. I can tell you, if you choose 5 currency pairs, you would always be in a trade at any given time, because you would always find at least 1 or 2 pairs that are trending. Anyway, not to take too much of your time, we've done about 15 minutes. I believe it's been, some good value, for your time spent watching this. If you've been watching so far, I would say to encourage me. Yes, I also need encouragement. Click on the subscribe button, press the, give me a thumbs up, a like the video and subscribe. And of course, having subscribed, I would say to also click on the notification bell next to the subscribe button so that each time I come out with a new video, you'll be among the first to receive the notification. Okay, until next time, God bless. It's Francis signing off.